Hello, good to see everyone again. Paxton says hello this morning. He's going to hang out with us this morning. You see him walking around. And May the 4th be with you. What a fun day. I just wanted to share with you this morning something that God, I've just been diving into the life of Jesus and something that really He's been teaching me lately. And the name or the attribute of God we're going to look at today is that when Jesus says that I am the resurrection and the life. And this is one of my favorite passages. I just absolutely love this. But during this time of just a lot of things dying in our life, death of of sports, death of things we love to do, death of school, death of just like getting to go to see a movie. A lot of things in our life have actually been just kind of dead for a season or gone dormant, and this really spoke life into me this morning. So here's the situation. Basically, Jesus has some good friends, Martha and Mary, and a good friend named Lazarus, and he's really sick and ill, and they send word for Jesus that he's really sick and ill and dying. And we know that Jesus, over and over throughout the Gospels, he's shown that he has the power to bring life to any situation. Blind can see, the sick are healed, the lame can walk. And so they send word to Jesus, but Jesus makes a comment to his disciples that basically that, he doesn't take off and try to get there real quick to heal him. Basically, he says that Lazarus, his good friend's going to die, but it's going to be for the glory of God. And his disciples are a little confused. They don't really totally understand what's going to happen. And so that's what happens next. That Jesus, Lazarus is dead, and Jesus gets to this town. And then the text tells us that Martha kind of comes running out to meet Jesus. And Martha's grieving, obviously, the loss of Lazarus. And here's what it says here. Martha said to Jesus, this is John 11, verses 21. So John 11, verses 21. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So God, man, if you would have come, like we know, there's a statement of faith here. Like, man, if you would have been here, he would have not have died. So there's this sadness that Jesus wasn't there and that her brother's dead. Lazarus, her brother. But then verse 22 says this, but even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. And then Jesus says this is beautiful. So you see that beautiful act of faith. Look, I know that anything you ask for, that God will give you. And Jesus says this. He says, your brother will rise again. He basically saying, look, he's going to rise again. And here's what Martha said, verse 24. I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. And so she has good theology. She knows the truth. She knows maybe Ezekiel 37, maybe Isaiah 25 and 26, and she's looking at the last days when the earth is restored, and that God comes back and brings dead things to life. He wipes away every tear. He makes everything right. And so she says, yeah, I know that. I know that he will in the future come back to life. He followed God. He had faith. She's like, I know that. But then here's what I love about Jesus. Jesus kind of takes it to another level, and I think he's helping her with her doubt here. I think she's sad that maybe Jesus didn't show up, sad that he's her brother's dead. Even though she knows she'll see him in the future, there's still some sadness here, and there's maybe some doubt about God. And then here's what he says next. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? And so Jesus doesn't just say, I will resurrect him one day. He says, I am the resurrection and the life. So what Jesus, we know that what he can do one day, he has the ability and the power to bring life to any situation he faces, to bring about resurrection to anything dead that he faces presently. We know later on that Jesus talks about life is actually knowing the Father and knowing him. So that's what true life is about. And so the fact that he shows up and he's present with Martha in her doubt, in her sadness, is that he's bringing life to that situation. And he's going to take it to another level. And then she said this, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world." So she has this statement of belief and faith. And what's interesting is if we read on, I'm not going to read this. You can read that on your own, verses 28 through 37. But Mary comes out and does the same thing. She kind of says the same statement to Jesus. And she brings this kind of crowd with her that was weeping with her, that were really sad and mourning with her. And they come out and she says the same thing. But with Jesus, verse 33, when Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" And they said to him, "Lord, come and see." And it says, Jesus wept. And then the Jews said, "Man, see how he loved him." And so Jesus is just kind of overwhelmed with grief right now. He's seeing Mary cry. And so it's interesting. He doesn't speak the truth he did with Martha, but with Mary, he just weeps. He weeps with the crowd. And then verse 38, he says, "Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave and a stone was laid against it." So, he's dead. Lazarus is really, really dead here. And it said he was deeply moved again. And a lot of commentators, they say it's like this, there's this sadness, but then there's this angst, this frustration, this almost this anger and passion in the word they use here for his sadness. And so what a lot of commentators think it's really, he's not really mad at Martha. They don't think he's necessarily mad at some of the people who didn't believe, but it seems like he's more frustrated with the power of Satan, the power of death, that death is reigning in this world, that death has power over this world. And he's looking at the kingdom of darkness, and he represents the kingdom of light. And as he's about to do this last incredible sign and miracle, and he's going to tell Lazarus to come out of the grave, and he will, he's deeply troubled because he sees God's people just, trapped by death, separated from the love of the Father. But what he's going to do is that he knows when he does this next sign that he's going to take one more step closer to Jerusalem, one more step closer to the cross, one more step closer to the final act of defeating death, when he would willfully give himself up to die on behalf of our sins. And then he, through the power, it says through himself, through the Spirit, through the Father, would resurrect and bring life to all those who believe. And so it's this beautiful thing where then the next thing he does, he prays his prayer of thanksgiving and just says, "Father, I know that you can do everything, and I know that everything you do comes from you." And he says, "I pray this not because you need to hear this or I need to hear this, but the people around me so they can believe." And then he tells Lazarus, I love this, he says, "Come out." And it said he cried that with a loud voice. He cried out with a loud voice, like, "Get out, come out of the grave." And it says the man who was dead came out alive. And so what's really struck me is that Jesus has the power to bring life presently. I think for the longest time, I always thought about the power of Jesus was just future. Yes, I would be saved. I believed in him. So in the future, I would have salvation. I would go to heaven. I would be happy forever. I would be perfectly with God forever. But I didn't let that presence, that affect my circumstances now. I would allow things in this life that maybe died in my life, like I lost a basketball game or a tennis match, or something tragic happened in my life, and I would let those situations overwhelm, and I would only look for the future. But I think what Jesus is showing here is that he is the resurrection currently and the life currently. So whatever you're facing today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do what Mary and Martha do. They went to Jesus with this stuff. And that's what we're called to do. Go to the Father. Go to Jesus. And, lament some things you've lost. Cry about those things you've lost. But also know that he offers current healing. He offers his presence right now. He weeps with you. He mourns with you. But then he brings hope. He brings resurrection. He brings life. And so may that bring hope and joy into you today. I know for me, just because things are so different now and they're so weird, and I want things to get back to normal, whatever a new normal looks like. I want to see people again. I want to hug people. I want to be with people, but I can't, you know, totally right now. I want to see you guys, all you students out there, but I can't. And so, but that's okay. I can go to God with that stuff, and I can just trust in His work, that He has power over the darkness. Will bring light to whatever we're facing today, and that He will bring hope. So, hope that encourages you this morning. Enjoy your time with your Father today, your Heavenly Father, and just enjoy the words of Jesus. I am the resurrection and the life. Love you guys. Enjoy, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Goodbye.